Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Literary Love 123, where I combine my master's in English with my passion for the horror genre to talk about the books that I read. Today, I'm here to topple your TBR, my TBR. I'm toppling all the TBRs this summer. After this quick intro, I'll be right back to talk about my most anticipated horror releases for summer of 2025. What can I say about summer? I hate it. You heard me. That's right. I live on the Alabama Gulf Coast. It is ridiculously hot, ridiculously humid in summer. So I won't be outdoors again until October. So what am I going to do while I swelter in the humidity and heat that is summer here? I can read, and read I will. So what are my most anticipated 2025 horror releases to get me through the long, dreadful days of summer? Let's talk about it. Starting with June. Coming out on June 2nd is Beast by Richard Van Camp. This is lauded as an indigenous Stranger Things, blending supernatural horror with 1980s nostalgia. So, the nostalgia for the 80s that grabbed me. I know some people are tired of it, but as a Gen X who was living my best life in the 80s, I'm here for all the 80s nostalgia. Let's talk about it. Lawson Soren's life has always been entwined with the lives of the Cranes brothers. Cody Cranes became an unexpected friend when they shared a tent at summer camp, but now he's disappeared. Star athlete Stanley Crane survived the canoe accident that killed Lawson's mother, but has been a shell of himself ever since. Silver Cranes, geez, the guy was downright scary even before he made some kind of occult pact resurrecting the dead one. A ghoulish, cruel, powerful spirit hell-bent on destroying peace treaties like the centuries-old one between the Dogrib and Chippewayan, which Lawson and the Cranes boys are tasked with preserving. Determined to save his community from the dead one's ravenous maw, Lawson must step into his role as a Dogrib Yabati, or protector, and recruit his friends Isaiah Valentine, a Cree grass dancer, and Sherry Burns, a Matisse psychic, to face what Silver Cranes has called back. So I'm not sure if I pronounced everything right in that synopsis, but I'm definitely looking forward to checking out Beast by Richard Van Camp. The next book I want to talk about is one that I actually pre-ordered, and I have talked a little bit about it in another one of my videos where I did a vlog for Strange Pictures by this author. But the next one that I'm talking about here is a follow-up to Strange Pictures, and that is Strange Houses by Uketsu and translated by Jim Ryan. Yes, I'll be looking down at my phone for this video so I can read synopses to you. Okay, so about Strange Houses. From the best-selling author of the wildly inventive Strange Pictures and a phenomenon in Japan, unnatural layouts, trapdoors, windowless rooms, a sinister conspiracy is concealed within a house's warped and unsettling floor plans. So I'm just going to leave that synopsis at that and link down in the description box below my vlog where I did read this author's Strange Pictures, and I talk more about Strange Houses in that video. So I'm just going to link that down in the description box. So the next one I want to talk about, and I don't know if I've said this, but so far everything that I've talked about, including the one I'm about to talk about, will be coming out on June 3rd. So the next one is titled You Have to Let Them Bleed. And this is by Annie Neugebauer, and I hope I'm saying her name right. But let me talk about this one. The collector hunts the darkness for terrible beauty, macabre and marvelous stories worth displaying in their shadow boxes. Tour these horrors with them, but beware. If you're not careful, you might find yourself lost in a labyrinth of fear. A pickup artist is after your skin. A junk drawer opens into the abyss. The twin sons of an ill fated magician plot against their abusive mother. A man wastes his life dreading an unseen entity. A senior water aerobics class takes a turn for the bizarre. You Have to Let Them Bleed brings together the best horror fiction of two-time Bram Stoker Award finalist and nationally award-winning poet Annie Neugebauer, together with 8 new poems. I love poetry and especially get excited when it's horror poetry. So, together with 8 new poems, this 19-story collection will draw you into the lovely darkness, lure you deeper into the heartbreaking and gruesome, and leave behind its own collection of horrors to fill the shadow of your mind. So, the next one I want to talk about is coming out on June 10th. And this one is titled Awakened, and it is by Laura Elliott. So, I saw this one mentioned. All of the ones I'm talking about, I actually got from Emily McHugh's Read Jump Scares, and I will link that down below. So, Emily McHugh described this as perfect for fans of The Girl with All the Gifts and 28 Days Later. Now, I love the movie The Girl with All the Gifts. I still haven't read the book yet. And I also love 28 Days Later. So let me tell you the synopsis of this book. Civilization has ended. In a bid to make us more productive, to give us more time, science took sleep from humanity. But sleeplessness turned people into feral monsters, and now a small group of scientists are trapped in the Tower of London, consumed by guilt at what they have done and desperately searching for a cure. And then one day, as the last ravens circle, 2 miraculous survivors walk into the tower. Are they the answer or a terrible question? This just sounds really interesting and kind of a unique take on the zombie trope. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is Ecstasy. And this one is by Ivy Pachoda. And it first caught my eye because it was described as a dark horror reimagining of a Greek tragedy. And I love Greek mythology, so that piqued my interest. Lena wants her life back. Her wealthy, controlling, humorless husband has just died, and now she contends with her controlling, humorless son, Drew. Lena lands in Naxos with her best friend in tow for the unveiling of her son's pet project, the luxurious Agape Villas. Years of marriage amongst the wealthy elite has whittled Lena's spirit into rope and sinew, smothered by tasteful cocktail dresses and unending small talk. On Naxos, she yearns to rediscover her true nature, remember the exuberant dancer and party girl she once was. But Drew tightens his grip, keeping her cloistered inside the hotel, demanding that she fall in line. Lena is intrigued by a group of women living in tents on the beach in front of the Agape. She can feel their drums at night, hear their seductive leader calling her to dance. Soon she'll find that an ancient god stirs on the beach, awakening dark desires of women across the island. The only questions left will be whether Lena will join them and what it will cost her. Ecstasy is a riveting, darkly poetic, one sitting read about empowerment, desire, and what happens when women reject the roles set out for them. Yes, please give me more. The next book I want to talk about, I think I forgot also to mention Ecstasy comes out on June 17th. I need to say the release date at the beginning so that way I don't forget. So the next one is also coming out on June 17th, and it has a really long title. I Gave You Eyes and You Look Toward Darkness. Let me tell you about this one. Dawn is breaking over the Gilleries. a rugged mountain range in Catalonia frequented by wolf hunters, brigands, deserters, race car drivers, ghosts, and demons. In a remote farmhouse called Mas Clavel, an impossibly old woman lies on her deathbed. Family and caretakers drift in and out. Meanwhile, all the women who have lived and died in that house are waiting for her to join them. They are preparing to throw her a party. As day turns to night, 400 years worth of stories unspool, and the house reverberates with raucous, can I read today? Raucous laughter, pungent feast, and piercing cries of pleasure and pain. It all begins with Joanna, Moss Clavel's matriarch, who once longed for a husband, a full man, perhaps even an heir with a patch of land and a roof over his head. She summoned the devil to fulfill her wish and struck a deal, a man in exchange for her soul. But when on her wedding day, Joanna discovered that her husband was missing a toe, eaten by wolves, she exploited a loophole in her agreement, heedless of what consequences might follow. I Gave You Eyes and You Look Toward Darkness is an audacious and entrancing novel in which the lines between the dead and the living, past and present, story and history are blurred. In it, Irene Sola draws on oral tradition as well as art, literature, and fairy tales to tell a completely new kind of story. That sounds like there's a whole lot going on in it, but it just piques my curiosity. So the next one, we're switching over to July now. And the next one comes out on July 15th, and it is titled Girl in the Creek. And it is by Wendy N. Wagner. So let me get this looked up and we can talk about it. So, Girl in the Creek. Girl in the Creek is a pulse pounding story about the horrors growing all around us. Perfect for fans of Jeff Vandermeer and T. Kingfisher. Buried secrets only spread. Aaron's brother Brian has been missing for 5 years. It was as if he simply walked into the forest of the Pacific Northwest and vanished. Determined to uncover the truth, Aaron heads to the foothills of Mount Hood where Brian was last seen alive. He isn't the first hiker to go missing in this area, and their cases go unsolved. When she discovers the corpse of a local woman in a creek, Erin unknowingly puts herself in the crosshairs of very powerful forces from this world and beyond, hell bent on keeping their secrets buried. I don't know, but I like it. All right, the next one is coming out on July 22nd, and this one is The Library at Hellebore by Cassandra Call. Now, Cassandra Call wrote Nothing But Blackened Teeth, which I actually really enjoyed, even though a lot of people didn't. But I did. I liked the Japanese folklore. I didn't mind looking up unfamiliar words and getting more familiar with Japanese folklore to understand the story better. I also really enjoyed Cassandra Call's The Salt Grows Heavy, which was sort of a different kind of mermaid tale. But now let's talk about, what is this one called? The Library at Hellebore. Sorry. This one is described as a deeply dark academia novel, perfect for fans of a deadly education and an education in malice who are hungry for something more diabolical. I mean, you had me at dark academia. The Hellebore Technical Institute for the Gifted is the premier academy for the dangerously powerful, the Antichrist and Ragnaroks, the world eaters and apocalypse makers. Hellebore promises redemption, acceptance, and a normal life after graduation. At least that's what Elisa Lee is told after she's kidnapped and forcibly enrolled. But the Institute is more than just a haven for monsters. On graduation day, the faculty embark on a ravenous rampage, feasting on their students. Trapped in the school's cavernous library, Alessa and her surviving classmates must do something they were never taught: work together. if they don't, this school will eat them alive. That just sounds so good. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is Mayra by Nikki Gonzalez. This one comes out on the 22nd. And I think I forgot again to say the library at Mount Hellebore also comes out on July 22nd. Now I'm looking up. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Mayra. Mayra. Yes, y'all are getting into my research skills here. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Okay, now it's telling me there's no results for it. Well, I saw it. Oh, wait, I spelled Nikki's name wrong. I spelled it with an I. Just so you know, it's with a Y. Now let's see if we can find it. Yes, of course, when you spell stuff right, that might help. Okay, so on to Mayra by Nikki Gonzalez. An eerie hypnotic debut about friendship, desire, and memory set against the sultry backdrop of Florida's swamplands. See, that sounds like a good summer read already. It's been years since Ingrid has heard from her childhood best friend, Mayra, a fearless rebel who fled their hometown of Hialeah, a Cuban neighborhood just west of Miami, for college in the Northeast. But when Mayra calls out of the blue to invite Ingrid to a weekend getaway at a house in the Everglades, she impulsively accepts. From the moment Ingrid sets out, danger looms. The directions are difficult. She's out of reach of cell service. And as she drives deeper into the Everglades, the wet maw of the swamp threatens to swallow her whole. But once Ingrid arrives, Mayra is, in many ways, just as she remembers, with her sharp tongue and effortless, seductive beauty, still thumbing her nose at the world. Before they can fully settle into the familiar intimacy of each other's company, their reunion is spoiled by the reemergence of past disagreements and the unexpected presence of Mayra's new boyfriend, Benji. Mm. The trio spend their hours eating lavish meals and exploring the labyrinthine house, which holds as much mystery as the swamp itself. Indoors and on the grounds, time itself seems to expand, and Ingrid begins to lose a sense of the outside world and herself. Against this Why can't I read? Against this disquieting setting where lizards dart in and out of porches and alligators peek from dark waters, Gonzalez weaves a surreal, unforgettable story about the dizzying power of early friendship and the lengths we'll go to earn love and acceptance, even at the risk of losing ourselves entirely. That just has so much that I'm interested in. The idea of, childhood friends reuniting, digging up secrets. Yeah, I like all of that. Okay, so the next book also coming out on July the 22nd, which I have actually pre-ordered, is Pan by Michael Clune. So again, I'm a sucker for any sort of Greek tragedy, Greek myth retelling, reimagining. That'll get me pretty much every time. So let's talk about Pan. A strange and brilliant teenager's first panic attacks lead him down the rabbit hole in this wild, highly anticipated debut novel from one of our most distinctive literary minds. Nicholas is 15 when he forgets how to breathe. He had plenty of reason to feel unstable already. He's been living with his dad in the bleak Chicago suburbs since his Russian-born mom kicked him out. Then one day in geometry class, Nicholas suddenly realizes that his hands are objects. The doctor says it's just panic, but Nicholas suspects that his real problem might not be a psychiatric one. Maybe the Greek god Pan is trapped inside his body. As his paradigm for his own consciousness crumbles, Nicholas, his best friend Ty, and his maybe girlfriend Sarah hunt for answers why. In Oscar Wilde and in Charles Baudelaire, in rock and roll and in Bach, and in the mysterious drugged out barn where their classmate Todd's charismatic older brother Ian leads the high schoolers in rituals that might end up breaking more than just the law. Thrilling, cerebral, and startlingly funny, Pan is a new masterpiece of the coming of age genre by Guggenheim Fellow and literary scholar Michael Clune. So this sounds very intriguing. All right, the next book coming out on July 31st is We Like It Cherry, and this is by J.C. Morris. So let's talk about We Like It Cherry. Documentary. I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit now. Documentarist Ezra Montbank thinks he's hit the jackpot when he receives an invitation to document the rights of a mysterious, hitherto unknown tribe, the Winnekin, who reside in the harrowing, inhospitable Arctic. It's a shot at the prestigious journalism career he's long envisioned and a path out from the borderline exploitative series detailing the celebrations of indigenous tribes he's been mired in with his life and filmmaking partner, Stu. Buzzing with possibility, Ezra and his crew depart for the home of the Winnekin, only to find themselves in a frozen and bloody battle for survival atop an inaccessible glacier ritual site where men and mythical horrors hunger for sacrifice. That sounds really good. It's kind of odd that it's coming out in summer. But, it's winter in some parts of the world, right? So I may be saving that one for when it's winter in my part of the world. So the next book I want to talk about, we are bumping on to August. So August 5th coming out, we have Lost in the Dark and Other Excursions by dun, 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 John Langan, who is the author of my favorite book of all time, The Fisherman. So let's see if we can get the synopsis. Now it showed up in my search, but now it's just showing me different options, not by John Langan. So let me see if I type out the whole title, if I can get it. He likes kind of a long title, Lost in the Dark and Other Excursions. Excursions. Now let's see. Are you going to work for me now? Well, it's still not giving me what I need. Let me try another way. I'm sorry it's taken me this long to do stuff, but sometimes that's just the way it is. It really didn't, it really doesn't even matter to me what the synopsis of Lost in the Dark and Other Excursions is because, again, John Langan, that's all I need. Okay, so now, yay, I found some details here. Thank goodness. Whew. Y'all, thanks for hanging with me. A garishly painted figure contains a terrible curse. This is a short story collection. Did I even mention that? Okay, well, guess what it is. A garishly painted figurine contains a terrible curse. The 10-year anniversary of a sensational horror film shot in an abandoned mine reveals stunning secrets. End notes for a book review uncover a strange high-tech pathogen. A man witnesses something uncanny and unexplained as his friend succumbs to a watery death. A seasick woman aboard a ferry is pursued by a barnacle-covered specter. A professor reveals the mysterious connection between Joseph Conrad and Peter Pan. What? Joseph Conrad wrote Heart of Darkness, which I hated. I had to read in grad school. Hated Heart of Darkness. I don't care if that's a hot take. Anyway, but I still am interested in seeing how John Langan writes the story connecting Peter Pan and Joseph Conrad. Okay. A man encounters the ghost of his lost sister in a liminal space between the land and the sea. Okay, well, you had me at liminal. And well, hello, Frere. See, even Frere loves John Langan. He's like, what? Are we talking about John Langan? Yes, please. An academic meets a mythical creature on a mysterious island. I love John Langan. I mean, obviously he wrote my favorite book, The Fisherman, but also in his book The Wide Carnivorous Sky and Other Monstrous Geographies, he has a story called Mother of Stone, which genuinely terrified me. Which, which is not easy to do. All right. So Frere has joined me, and in keeping up with the chaos of this video, Frere is sitting on my list of books. Excuse me, Frere. Can I have my list? Can I have a thank you, sir? Thank you. Okay. So the next book that I want to talk about, coming out on August 12th, is A Game in Yellow by Haley Piper. So let's talk about A Game in Yellow. Are you interested too? Yes, I think you are interested. Okay, so let's talk about it. Thanks for sneezing on me, dude. Thanks. Euphoria meets Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke in this latest novel by the Bram Stoker award-winning author Haley Piper, following a couple whose search to spice up their sex life leads them down a path of madness. Hell yes! Sex and madness. A kink-fixated couple, Carmen and Blanca, have been in a rut. That is until Bianca discovers the enigmatic smoke. Is it Blanca? I'm saying Bianca. It's Blanca. I'm very sorry about that. Blanca. Blanca discovers the enigmatic Smoke in an understreet drug den who holds pages to a strange play, The King in Yellow. Read too much and you'll fall into madness. But read just a little and pull back, and it gives you the adrenaline rush of survivor's euphoria, leading Carmen to fall into a game of lust at a nightmare's edge. As the line blurs between the world Carmen knows and the one that she visits after reading from the play, she begins to desire more time in this other world, no matter what horrors she brings back with her. This has also given me Hellraiser vibes, and all I can say to that is hell yeah. I think I need to go ahead and pre-order that one. All right, let's talk about the next book coming out on August 12th is What Hunger by Catherine Dang. If I could type and we could get to the synopsis, that would be great. What Hunger? Okay, here we go. What Hunger? A haunting coming of age tale following the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants, Ronnie Nigan. I'm so sorry. I'm probably saying this right. As she grapples with the weight of generational trauma while navigating the violent power of teenage girlhood. It's the summer before high school, and Ronnie finds herself too young for work, too old for cartoons. Her days are spent in a small backyard, dozing off to trashy magazines on a plastic lawn chair. In a stark contrast stands her brother Tommy, the pride and joy of their immigrant parents, a popular honor student destined to be the first in the family to attend college. The thought of Tommy leaving for college fills Ronnie with dread as she contemplates the quiet house she will be left alone in with her parents, Me and Ba. Their parents rarely speak of their past in Vietnam, except through the lens of food. The family's meals are a tapestry of cultural memory. Thick spring rolls with slim and salty nem chua, and steaming bowls of pho thai with thin, delicate slices of blood red beef. In the aftermath of the war, May and Ba taught Ronnie and Tommy that meat was a dangerous luxury, a symbol of survival that should never be taken for granted. But when tragedy strikes, Ronnie's world is upended. Her sense of self and her understanding of her family are shattered. A few nights later, at her first high school party, a boy crosses the line, and Ronnie is overtaken by a force larger than herself. This newfound power comes with an insatiable hunger for raw meat, a craving that is both a saving grace and a potential destroyer. What Hunger is a visceral, emotional journey through the bursts and pitfalls of female rage. Ronnie's Vietnamese lineage and her mother's emotional memory play a crucial role in this tender ode to generational trauma and mother daughter bonding. That just sounds so good. All right. The next book I want to talk about is coming out on August 19th, and I have pre ordered it. And that is Feral and Hysterical, Mother Horror's Ultimate Reading Guide to Dark and Disturbing Fiction by Women, written by Mother Horror herself, Sadie Hartman. Move over, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and Lovecraft. It's time to let the Scream Queens howl. In Sadie Hartman's follow-up book to the Bram Stoker Award winner 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered, which is fantastic, horror fans will be delighted to discover a whole new list of horror recommendations, all by women writers. Taking a cue from the popular practice of mood reading, the most common request she gets on social media, and the overwhelming positive reaction to the icons included in her first book, Sadie has carefully curated and organized her 200 plus recommendations into reading lists based on vibes. Are you in your gothic era? Sadie has a list for that. Going on vacation and need some good dark beach reads? There's a list for that. Just finished Mexican Gothic and need more sporer in your life? You guessed it. There's a list for that too. Each book on every list will include its title, author or authors, as the case may be, date of publication, publisher, page count, theme, a spoiler-free description, alongside Sadie's recommendation, featuring 5 brand new essays from popular and rising voices in the horror genre: Alma Katsu, Alexis Henderson, Christina Henry, Ray Knowles, and Laura Purcell. This illustrated reader's guide is perfect for anyone looking to get out of a reading slump or diversify their TBR pile. I cannot wait to get my hands on Feral and Hysterical. So the next book I want to talk about is coming out on the 19th, and that is The Unseen by Anya Alborn. So I have enjoyed most of the books I've read by Anya Alborn. My favorite one has actually been If You See Her, which is not one that I see often mentioned as a favorite, but I'm looking forward to checking out The Unseen. So, what is it about? Hailed as a writer of some of the most promising horror I've encountered in years, according to Shauna McGuire, Anya Alborn delivers a novel that pushes the boundaries of horror into a new realm. Isla Hansen, a mother reeling from a devastating loss, is beside herself when a mysteriously orphaned child appears on the outskirts of the Hansens' secluded Colorado property. Although strange and unexplainable, the child's presence breathes new life into Isla. But as the child settles in, Isla's husband Luke and their 5 children notice peculiarities that hint at something far beyond the ordinary, anomalies that challenge the very fabric of reality itself. The tension within the Hansen household grows, and with it, the sense that there is something very wrong with the new kid in the house. Knowing Anya Alborn, I'm going to agree there is probably something very wrong with the new kid in the house. So the next book is also coming out on August 19th, and it is called Your Favorite Scary Movie: How the Scream Films Rewrote the Rules of Horror. I'm a big Scream fan, and I don't know if I can show them to you right now or not, but I'm wearing ghost face knee socks I don't know. I don't know if I can like stick my foot up here. You might not you might not want to see it. But anyway, this is your favorite scary movie, How the Scream Films Rewrote the Rules of Horror by Ashley Cullens. So let's talk about it. The ultimate story of the Scream movie franchise, featuring interviews from more than 80 key players and an in depth exploration of the creation and legacy of the films that revived a dying genre. In your favorite scary movie, entertainment journalist Ashley Cullens examines the making and impact of the Scream films. My chair just squeaked. I promise that was my chair. If you heard something, that was my chair. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Okay, the making and impact of the Scream films with behind the scenes insight from cast, creators, and crew, as well as sharp analysis on how the movie's special blend of gruesome violence and humorous self awareness rewrote the horror playbook. This intimate and thorough history includes brand new interviews from Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Kevin Williamson, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Jack Quaid, Parker Posey, Hayden Panettiere, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Radio Silence, Roger L. Jackson, and so many more. So, this would be an interesting look into one of my favorite horror movie franchises of all time. Okay, the next book is coming out on August 26th, and that is The Red Knot by Asher Monique or Monique Asher. So sorry about that. Monique Asher. So let's talk about The Red Knot. On a tiny on a tiny isolated island off the southern Alaskan coast, three girls have vanished without a trace, and Audra's close friend, the island's therapist, has been found murdered. A recent storm has severed all communication with the outside world, leaving Audra, the town's lead detective, trapped and at the head of a very personal case. Her lead suspect, Valerie, the daughter of a notorious cult leader and the town's outcast, was discovered blood covered and dazed at the crime scene. Valerie's memory is a gaping void, a dark well hiding traumatic secrets, including the truth about the teenage kidnappings that haunt the island. As Audra digs deeper into the town's twisted history, it becomes clear other murders on the island, dating back decades, might be connected. The clock is ticking for the missing girls, and every clue leads Audra to question, even though she's known her whole life. Valerie must confront the horrors of her past while Audra's investigation becomes a descent into madness. On this cursed island, the line between neighbor and nightmare blurs, revealing that true horror often wears a familiar face. So that one just sounds really good to me. Obviously, that's why I put it on this list, right? But I love an isolated setting with secrets, a possible cult connection, all that kind of stuff intrigues me. So, last of all, I want to talk about a book coming out on August 26th titled Restoration. And this is by Ava Barrera. If when I read the synopsis, you're gonna know exactly why I read this and said, okay, I must add that to the TBR. Propelled by female desire, shaped by the violence of the male gaze, and inspired by the endless vitality of old stories remade anew, Restoration takes on Bluebeard, Salvador Elizondo, Juan Rulfo, Angela Carter, Octavio Paz, Mariana Enriquez, and Amparo Davila to produce a novel of obsession, reclamation, and romance gone very, very wrong. Yasmina has been hired by her maybe boyfriend to restore his family home, a grubby, abandoned time capsule where a great artist once lived. As she moves from room to room, scrubbing, scraping, plastering over the cracks, the stories inhabiting them awaken, and the lives of the women who came before her begin to overlap with her own. Who is the woman in the photograph, and what secrets linger in that last locked room? Restoration is a ghost story with porous borders between Yasmina and these forgotten women, between the novel and us. And the questions Barrera asks may be about what's behind our own barred door. So this is obviously, given the Bluebeard vibes, but it also is making me think a bit about the yellow wallpaper too. So that's all that I need to hear before I am hooked into this book. So, those are all of the summer release books that I am looking forward to. Thank you for watching and hanging in for this video and being patient as I fumbled around to find the synopses of books. I would love to know which of these books have captured your interest. Are there books coming out this summer that you're excited about? Please let me know. And once again, I would really, really appreciate it if you would hit like, hit subscribe, hit that bell so we can keep on talking about books that we are excited to read. Once again, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.